I'm Angel, and this is Metagate's Red Fantasy, based on the Bumblebee movie's Shatter, a triple changer, something we rarely ever get in third parties, much less from movies. I don't remember that many triple changers in the movies now that I think about it. Were there any triple changers in the Bay movies? I don't think so. So I'm really happy for this one because it's a triple changer, and I love triple changers. So first things first, do I like her? Yeah, I do. She's not without her issues like every single fucking figure. She has more severe ones, sadly, but I'm gonna get into those. But generally, yeah, I actually do like her a lot. Now, for comparisons, we have here the usual suspects. We have the MP size Prime, the reformatted one, and the mainline one. So you have an idea of how she stacks up towards them, but of course none of them are really in the same universe. So for today I have brought out this distinguished gentleman. This is the Bumblebee movie MP Prime. I think this is much better. So yeah, this is how she stacks up to all the other primes. As you can see, she is quite tall, even in comparison to the movie masterpiece Prime from the Bumblebee movie, which I honestly think she's a bit too big to scale with the NPM Prime, with the NPM line. Especially since this Optimus Prime actually has the upgrade kit that makes him slightly taller. So from the mainline one, he would be like this tall, about this tall. So yeah, right now the top of his head gets to about the top of his head gets to about her forehead. I would imagine Prime to be way taller than she is, you know, being like the leader of the Autobots. If that works for you, that's fine. I personally am not a stickler for scaling, but you know, for those of you that care, that's how she stacks up. As for accessories, she comes with her really cool looking arm cannon. Which looks pretty nice, and this weird cylinder thing that I don't know where it actually goes, so I'm just like putting it up there, because I guess the instructions don't really show anything, and from all the videos I've seen, I guess it's like, you know, just put it there, so I guess that's like an accessory. She also comes with a flight stand, but I don't really personally care for them, so like I binned it. She also comes with a bunch of missiles you can actually put on these holes, but they're kind of long and kind of ugly looking. You can pick one in the front as well, but small pieces, they tend to fall off, so I just decided I'm just gonna bin them as well. The arm cannon looks good enough. As for gimmicks and playability, as you can see, you can put the arm cannon in her arm and it looks pretty awesome. And like I said before, you can put the missiles that I binned in the arm cannon if you want that look for it. So I guess that's a gimmick. You can also put the arm cannon in the back of the car, but you can't actually store it in jet mode, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. Material-wise, she feels decent. She feels okay. It's plenty robust. She does have die-cast. Even though she doesn't feel the best, I have no fear of ever breaking her. It's just my only issue with her materials is this piece in her antenna, which feels like bendy plastic. Not really rubber, although it's a little bit rubbery. I don't know. Like, I have a fear that this might snap eventually. That's the only part that I don't like about this material-wise. Otherwise, pretty good. Her hardware honestly is not that bad. She has some tension joints and they seem to be properly tensioned. She also has ratchets and these are actually pretty good ratchets. All in all, in bot mode specifically, she holds up mostly well. However, the build of it is not the best in a lot of places. Some things don't want to tab in properly. Some things like to fall off. These ankles are way too loose. She has a tendency to fall backwards. because yeah, these yeah, no, I don't like these hips. Y'all saw that? So yeah, these hip pieces, they tend to come off by their own, so I try not to mess around too much with them. There's should be like actually tabbed in, but they don't always want to remain tabbed in. And the problems with the tabs are mostly present when you go into the transformations. I don't know if maybe some of the look at that. If some of the pegs are just get in there. Come on. Come on. Jesus Christ. Okay. I can do this. This goes there, that goes there, better. But yeah, she has a tendency to do that with the hip pieces. But I don't know if some of the tabs are just way too thick because of the plastic they used. But some things just do not want to tab in as you're transforming her. And that's why I just build, to me, not the best. Sculpt wise, she cleans up really well, even from the back. This is not a terrible backpack by any means, especially if you consider that she turns into 3 different modes. She's one of those figures that you can't really tell she can transform. Even more so that you can't tell like she can transform into 3 different things in total. Then you look at the detail in the plastic and you see it's really, really well sculpted. Like this thing pops wherever you put her in. She's not as painted as maybe some people would like. However, she has a lot of red glossy plastic making her look and feel painted. So that's pretty good. She commands presence, to be quite sure. My biggest gripe is all the white bits that she has. That's just basically a personal thing because in the newer release, these bits are actually an off gray, a bit darker, and I honestly think it looks way better like that than with the just pure, almost pearl white. Had I known, obviously, I would have waited for the one with the grayer pieces before getting her. Articulation wise, she's pretty well articulated. There's a lot of things here that it's done really well. The things that you expect from a modern release, including an app crunch. Sadly, as I mentioned before, these ankles are way, way too loose. Maybe with no, they're yeah. Posing her is a bit of an issue. You can put these ankle pieces behind this. Shout out to Solus Prime. Subscribe to their channel if you can. A shout out to Solus Prime that they told us, if you put this right behind the wheels, it locks the ankles a little bit better so you get a bit more stability. But it doesn't help that she can fall forward as well. So yeah, you can have a bit of an issue posing this girl. And honestly, it's a shame. She is very, very hefty, very heavy. So you gotta be careful as you're posing her because she has a tendency to want to fall. And this is not a figure you want to fall because if it falls, I feel like a couple of things might break or might just fall off. So another really nice piece of articulation is actually in the wings. You can flare them up and down a little bit, not too much, but it's something you can do. So that's cool. So transformation is definitely not the worst I've ever dealt with. It just has a couple of very frustrating bits, specifically when you're turning this thing from into jet mode. Just these parts here do not want to tab in, and as much as I try, I just can't get them to get in there properly. And I have tried. I know some people that they have actually had to shave these tabs off a little bit just to make them tab properly, and I'm not a fan of shaving things down. Always scared that I'm gonna end up shaving way too much. Besides that, the transformation isn't terrible. Things just, sadly, a lot of them, they don't really tab in. The things that need to tab in don't tab in, and a lot of things just that need to tab in. A lot of the things that need to tab in just don't tab in. The tolerances for the tabs aren't the best. And then you have things like these that they do not wanna get together, and then you have like an open seam in the middle of the back of the jet mode, and it looks a little bit unsightly. Uh, it's just a shame. I wish it could have been better because triple changer, and it was unprecedented to get a figure like this one. Shameful. So here it is in car mode, and you gotta admit it looks pretty fucking good. Almost from every single angle, this thing looks vicious. This is a very, very good looking muscle car. Sadly, it doesn't really roll. It's mostly sliding on my wide void. This wheel barely wants to roll. It gets caught a lot at the bottom because of all the bits. It's gonna scratch something eventually. I can just imagine. You can see here through the transformation, like that yellow paint is chipping off. This is getting wider. Again, like a lot of the tabs don't really work well in this thing. Still, again, you have to admit it looks pretty damn cool. As I mentioned before, you can totally put this in the car mode. You can actually store his rocket launcher. And that doesn't look bad. Doesn't look horrible. I actually like it. If you put all the missiles on it, it looks even better. The back is fine. A lot of people were complaining because originally, like, the feet were just sticking out of the back. And now they have hinges to go to the sides. But I think that's what made this thing not as sturdy in robot mode, I feel, when they had to add those additional hinges. But my biggest gripe with car mode is that it doesn't really roll that well. This wheel is just completely caught. It's just like this one. Look at that. Let's see. This one. Yeah, that's perfect. This one. Yeah, that's fine. Those are fine. But this one wheel. Nope. Does not want to cooperate. Just not a really playable vehicle, sadly. Love how it looks, even with all the panels. Like, I don't really care. Like, I think it looks amazing. And here is jet mode. Honestly, it's a bit messy, but for what it is, it does not look bad. My biggest gripes with this thing, and to me, this is the weakest of all three modes. Look at this. Look at this. These don't tab in anywhere. They're just held there by tension. And I'm afraid that in the future, they might start sagging. Things should tab in. Not only that. See. Focus. Thank you. These shoulder pieces, they don't really tab in either. They're just held there by the grace of the Lord. And then, like, the fucking antenna gets in the way of the transformation a lot. The head doesn't really tab in anywhere. It's just there. Man, it's frustrating when you have something so cool, but it's not that great. However, it does actually roll better than the fucking car mode. So that's a weird and interesting achievement. A couple of the other things that don't tab in, like these they're just there. This just, at least this one's very well tensioned, but this one just there is on a ball joint. The fucking windshields of the car, they're just hanging here. They don't really go anywhere. The wheels are here. They're just like, again, they're just there. Man, I know that they had to do it because, again, it's a triple changer that turns into a very stylized robot. So it's not the easiest thing to do, and I do appreciate what they did. I just wish it would have been way better because, again, this is a very expensive toy. And what's worse, there's no weapon storage. As much as I don't like the jet mode, Still like transforming it into jet mode. Sort of. Like, again, the transformations aren't the best. It can be a little bit fiddly, a little bit annoying, but I just wish, this could have gone somewhere. But no, it doesn't really tab anywhere. These tend to like move from side to side because, again, there's no real tension here. Just very weak ankles, which is the thing I hate the most of figures when they have weak ankles, honestly. Just give us fucking weapon storage in every single mode. Come on, don't give us weapon storage for one mode and then not for the other one. But I have looked and I have tried and I have not found anywhere where you can store this. And I don't think it would have been too difficult to develop a peg somewhere for this to go into, since it did it so well for car mode. Yeah, just shameful, very shameful. There you go. That's. And they could have like just totally like molded a couple of peg holes in there. That's the best I can do. And there's jet mode. And from certain angles, it looks pretty amazing, especially if you consider that this thing used to be a car a couple of seconds ago. Well, a couple of minutes ago. Let's talk pricing. Red Fantasy here goes for about $160 with free shipping at the Show C store. Personally, I got it for around $150 thanks to some Show C points. And to be honest, for $160, a triple changer of this quality, that is not a bad price, regardless of the shortcomings it might have. So ultimately, is she worth it? Even with my complaints, yeah, I think so. She's totally worth it. Even with the score I'm gonna give her, I think this one's well worth it, especially if you're into the Bumblebee movie. Especially if you like muscle cars, jets, and honestly, things that are awesome, because even with the shortcomings, she is pretty damn awesome. I give Metagate Red Fantasy a total score of 7.5 for a grade of C+. Not a bad offering by Metagate. Could they have done better? Oh, definitely. If they would have worked on those tension joints, if they would have worked on those ankles, that sadly, this was probably a byproduct of when they changed the whole transformation of the feet, because some people were complaining that the alt mode in the car didn't look that well because the feet were sticking out in the back. Honestly, be careful what you wish for, because for these things, when you do one thing, you have to sacrifice another. And I think this is a byproduct of people complaining. I would have rather had an ugly back of the car mode instead of a bot that can barely stand at times. And now for some final thoughts. This is a figure, personally, I like to own. I like to look at. I like to pose whenever she doesn't want to do the belly flop. Ugh. One I like to own, but not necessarily one I like to transform. In all honesty, if you're a fan of the Bumblebee movie, and if you're a fan of Triple Changers, you owe it to yourself to get a copy of her. Just be very mindful of her shortcomings. Come on, just stand. Thank you. Oh, and yeah, Metagate already announced their Dropkick figure, and even though this one had its shortcomings, and probably Dropkick is gonna have its shortcomings too, he transforms from a helicopter to a muscle car to a robot. It's probably gonna have its issues as well. But I pre-ordered it anyways. One, I'm a glutton for pain. Two, I mean, just look at her. Look at her. Even holding her feels good. The problem is then just chill. Don't fall. That's my biggest issue with her. Even beyond the transformation, because it can be annoying, but I can look past that. Just the fucking ankles, man. Bane of my fucking existence. Thanks for watching. Join me next time where we'll be reviewing Titanium Series Menasor. That's it for the review. Thanks again. Here it is, your moment of zen. Hey, yeah!